So once again, if they say something, you can interrupt this, Renee, because I can't see the chat. The same message is clear after every session. I don't see it. Whatever. And yes, I will repent later on. I have some more sinful stuff to do tonight. So I'll pray before break.
Do I
Some
want to
more.
know?
Tell us more.
Don't
Hey,
be
that's God's
premeditated.
prayer
Don't be
by the artist.
premeditated.
That's premeditation.
Right. That's the God's prayer by artist Carter Dandara, my nephew. I don't know if he's still on social media to promote his music. But anyways, welcome and I want to welcome and thank everybody for tuning into Off the Record podcast, where no topic is off limits. It gives ourselves as well as our guests a space to share honest opinions that's uncensored, unfiltered, and unscripted. So tonight's discussion, actually, I didn't even change it. We're actually going to do a comparison between Kaysen Allison versus Carmelo Anthony trial. Two different trials, two different verdicts. So is it justice, race, or a failed system? I am your host, Uno, along with my co-host, Farrah Monet, Tasha B, Renee, and Apex. So once again, welcome everybody. I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm not even going to do an open discussion like we typically do. I want to give you the two comparisons and correct me if I'm wrong, but um, a lot of this, I live in Texas now, but a lot of this was done back in 2022 and 2025. And so with the case in Allison, both trials, with Carmelo Anthony and Kaysen Allison, the students they were high school students. Just to make a correction, Kaysen Kaysen Allison was actually 18 at the time that he committed the crime. Carmelo Anthony was 17. Both of them stabbed somebody at a high school or high school game. So Kaysen Anthony actually stabbed somebody in the bathroom at a high school where he brought a knife intentionally. Carmelo brought a knife to a track meet game where he ended up. They want to say that he stabbed, so it's either stabbing or tripped, whichever one you choose to go with. Both claim self-defense because they were physically attacked. Eyewitness testimony in the Kaysen Anthony trial stated that the witness testimony regarding there was prior tensions between Kaysen and the Ramirez guy. Jose Ramirez is the young man that ended up losing his life. In the Carmelo Anthony, the boy stated that they did not know each other prior to this. That was their first interaction at the track meet. And the witness testimony said for the Kaysen Anthony, sorry, I'm getting all confused. Kaysen Allison, that Jose Ramirez pulled a gun on him the night before the fight in the bathroom at the school. And then, of course, witness in the Carmelo Anthony said that I guess knew one of the guys on the track meet who ultimately testified against him, and then he got convicted based off of that testimony. Kaysen Allison got 10 years in prison because his jury said that it was manslaughter, so they gave him the lesser charge and he got 10 years. And of course, Carmelo Anthony was charged only with capital murder, and he got 35 years in prison.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll just jump into it, and we can probably discuss the prosecution and the defense argument at a later point. So when this verdict came down, well, first off, let's talk. So everybody knows about the Kaysen Allison case. Have y'all
Yes.
read up on that? Okay. So comparing it to the Carmelo Anthony case, what are your first thoughts?
So a couple of episodes back, I talked about having a blind jury that can't know the race of the persons that are, you know, getting defended. And this is why, because I feel like if you pull the race out of it, there's going to be different outcomes. Um, they should just hear the evidence as the evidence is and not take the person's looks, condition, hair, um, if they're there, they're nervous, if they're looking remorseful as they're sitting there, any of those factors it should be strictly about the facts of the case.
I have a question.
And this is why.
They should not know the race. You mean as far as the jury?
Right.
No, the
but I
jury
don't
should
think
know what the race of
wait,
the individuals.
meaning that
Yes.
meaning that because when you have the potential, because I know whenever it goes before it goes to actual trial, I know the prosecutors have the opportunity to take it to the grand jury first, and they don't know the race of the person in the grand jury, and they can't defend themselves. Meaning, the defendant can't defend themselves before they get charged with something, right? But I'm assuming that you mean that the defendant is sitting inside of when they're questioning the potential jurors. They should be removed. That's what you're saying?
The jurors should not know the race of the defendant.
I know, meaning that the
At
defendant.
any time.
Here's the thing: when this case was going on, apparently one of the, and I don't know, but apparently when they were questioning the witness, they said that Carmelo Anthony was inside of the courtroom, not the witness, the jurors. He was inside of the courtroom when they were questioning the potential jurors.
They usually are.
What you're saying is that they need to remove the defendant out of the courtroom during that process.
The whole entire
No,
process of what she's saying.
exactly.
Oh, interesting.
They should
Interesting.
never know the race of the perpetrator, and in that way, they can't profile them accordingly.
That's not going to work anyway. But yeah, it's an
Never,
idea.
Yeah,
I think it would.
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
it would. Why do you have to judge the way the person looks to defend the case? I'm just
No, I
putting.
get
Not
it
to
in
defend,
theory.
but not to not to. You don't mean to defend. To mean to come up with a verdict at the end.
No, it's there. She's basically saying that at the end of the day, basically, you just have information that you don't know. All you see is the attorneys. You don't know you don't know the victim. You don't know the
Jury's not
defendant.
defending. So she means literally to come up with a verdict. They basically just need to know what the story is or the trial is.
Yes.
No jury. Basically, you want them to be colorblind, as as the white folks like to say. I'm
just
colorblind.
blind to the facts, because I can kind of see this working in a way where we could have it to where we protect the defendant in the way that we would protect like a victim in that sense, because there are so many things that they're supposed to take all of that out of out of their minds when they're doing it as on the jury anyway, but we know that doesn't happen. So if we could take that part of it out, I think that would make, and just base it off of the facts, we would have a completely different outcome of a lot of
Exactly.
different things.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like I said, it's good in theory, but again, you have so many other things to be able to accomplish that. One is you wouldn't have. That would be the future state of some type of future that's not in our lifetime, so that you can actually separate, so you can
Wait,
be
wait,
able
wait,
to
wait,
judge
wait,
and
wait,
judge
wait,
the
wait.
facts.
You hold on, buddy. I might live till I'm 100. I don't know about you.
If
That
you
might
live
be
to
like
your
the
100,
movie.
it's not going to be
But
there.
I understand.
It's
But
going to
I
be
never-
it's
I
going
don't
to
know
be
if y'all-
years.
you're not
I don't know
bad.
if y'all saw that movie Mercy, where they had like AI. They used like AI to like the judge and jury and all that stuff, and they determine probability. It's a movie, but I mean I
Yeah,
can
yeah. So
see
I mean,
that.
that's what I'm saying. That is well beyond our lifetime, because you would have to have confidence. That's when the machines take over. You would have to be able to then change mentality of the entire world to be able to put your hands in this type of stuff. And that's not the one thing that we'll just talk about other races don't want is a fair system. If you have a fair system, then you could then other people can't be oppressed. So what I'm saying is that yes, it's good in theory, but reality is reality. It's not going to happen in our lifetime. And the fact of it is that the other thing I was going to say is, how do you have a jury of your peers? So we're going to argue about how the jurors went correct, how all this other stuff that went wrong. But how do you have a jury of your peers if you don't know who your peer you're judging?
Wait, wait,
Well,
hold
how can you have a
hold
fair
on, pause,
trial
pause.
if you're saying
It's not that.
if the judge is saying that this is not a race issue. This is
Yeah, the
not a
judge
race
made a
issue.
comment that it's race neutral.
But
But
it's not, because we're looking at the black boy.
well, when you say that, how can you, if you don't have a jury of peers, the prosecutor and the defense attorney know the race of their client or the person. So you can still get a jury of your peers. You just don't have that peer in the courtroom during the questioning. or the
Okay,
trial.
so you're telling that's what I'm saying. This is where the reality sits in. You're telling me that the
I'm,
judge knows,
I'm just
the
saying.
prosecution knows, the defense knows, a lot of these other people know, but the jury is not going to know. It's going to come into play at some point.
Well, we got a thing in the chat that the parents failed him in this case.
Well, we'll get to that. We definitely gonna get to that because
No,
I have
that's
questions
beyond.
about that.
That's beyond.
So
I
here's
want to
the
get to that.
here's the here, so when we compare both of the cases from the knowledge that you all know, and sorry for my mix up, all these damn names and these trials is crazy. How do you all feel about the outcome of both? I guess compare. How do you feel about the outcome?
It's not
I
surprising.
did say that he wasn't going to get a fair trial because it's not a jury of his peers.
Well, what would you say to people that said that he did get a fair trial?
That they're insane.
Lies
They're
you tell.
delusional.
Here's the thing: fair trial or not, it goes back to, and again, this is what we're going to beat a dead horse on a certain topic. And you said at the beginning, he was charged with one charge. Just again, one charge. So they rolled the dice on the one charge, and this is different than South Carolina, the case, and this is just because it's Texas. In Texas, okay, here's
Texas,
the kicker:
South Carolina, Florida seem all the same to me.
that it's not the same because the laws
I
are
didn't say
different.
I said seems.
See,
I
So
didn't
you're
yeah.
telling me that they can't say this does not fit this.
Well,
but
let
this
me
fits.
pause you. I'm sorry, real quick. It's not that he got charged with one thing, because after the trial, the judge actually included manslaughter, which is the lesser. So he
Yeah,
actually
they should be able to change it.
no, that's what I'm
But
saying.
they can,
When Apex is saying that he got charged with one thing, that's not true. He actually, in the initial, yes, he was charged with just capital murder, but they also introduced manslaughter. They also introduced manslaughter after the trial was concluded. So they had the option of giving him manslaughter in Texas is 2 to 20 years. So,
but here's the thing, and I didn't know that particular piece. But when you go ahead and build a overall case and they hammer it home that the manslaughter, which is the case, I was going to get to the point in Texas, okay, the manslaughter piece cannot be considered if there was intent to harm. See, Texas law is ridiculous.
it can be considered if the judge put it out there in the end.
Yeah, no, but here's the thing. But you got to if you look at the Texas law, manslaughter cannot be considered. It's not a factor if he intended to harm the other individual. It has to be considered murder.
Yeah, which is why the
No,
prosecution kept
the
prosecution the prosecution kept asking the witnesses, if you remember, do you think he intended to do this? Was he
Yep.
intending? Did he bait him? Did they say anything first? Did he tell him to hit? So
Yeah,
that
I
is
understand
why.
that. But when you include manslaughter, right? From my understanding here in the state of Texas, when they included it, even though he did not intend to harm him, he had reasonable fear for his life. And it's not that he intended to kill him, but that's ultimately what
No,
happened.
there's a
That's why they
difference.
included it.
There's a difference.
That's
No.
why they
When-
included it, and the jury still had the option to say yes.
okay.
I believe that he did not intend to kill them, but it happened, right?
No.
Stab
You got
somebody
no.
that you
You
don't
got
intend to
no. You got to look it up. It's not intend to kill. It's intend to harm. So the difference between
I'm mixed up my words.
No.
He
But
still had
no.
manslaughter on the table, regardless.
Yes, but you can't. But if you read the statute, this is when again, if you're in a jury room and you're reading the law, if it says if you intend to harm him, it cannot be manslaughter. You can include the charge if you want to. But there's one thing I do know. If your defense is I'm defending myself because I'm afraid for my life, the one thing you're admitting to is intend to harm the other person. You admitted to the murder piece.
You don't
So what you
intend
have
to
understand
necessarily
is-
harm them.
What?
You don't necessarily intend to harm them. You don't
You swing
necessarily
a sharp weapon at somebody. You intend
Wasn't
to
even
harm them.
sharp.
I'm not talking about killing. What?
Which case are you talking about? Because there's two different cases.
I'm not talking about the knife in the high school. I'm talking about Carmelo Anthony.
It wasn't
track event.
sharp. It wasn't even a knife. It was a utility thing for his cleats.
It's a utility tool. If for those who have
was
ran
only
track,
It's-
that the weapon it's sharp enough to be able to
No,
intend
it
harm.
actually was
when
a
you
knife.
say that it's a knife, It
I
was
didn't
not
say
a
it was a
it's
knife.
knife. I said it was a weapon.
It was a
That's
knife.
true. You did say it was
It
a
was a
knife.
knife. It was a
Here's
knife.
the thing: utility tool, knife. It doesn't matter. The bottom line, what my point is that he intended to harm the other person. He didn't intend to kill him. He didn't intend to do anything majorly, but he intended to harm him to get him off of him. He intended harm. And once you intend harm, you cannot have manslaughter in Texas.
It was
The
a
end.
knife, Jason.
Can't have manslaughter.
Una.
That's why they put it on the table.
Did you
But
understand
that
what I'm
doesn't mean
saying?
that he's gonna. That doesn't mean that he's not going. That doesn't mean that he will get manslaughter. But you can put it on the table.
Right. You can, what I'm saying, you can't have manslaughter. They could not rule manslaughter when he intended to harm.
Are you a lawyer?
Manslaughter is null and void.
They could have
Read the
ruled it.
law. I don't have to be a lawyer. I can read law. I can read in
No,
print.
not,
It's
but
very
they
simple.
Moving on.
They could have charged him. They could have given him
Yeah,
manslaughter.
they could have ruled against the law, and they were not going to. That's the thing about it is, it's very simple. If the red light is red and you run through it, you can be, if the officer's there, they can choose to give you a ticket. But if they give you a ticket and you go to court, you cannot say I didn't run the red light. You ran the red light, you got the ticket, it's a valid ticket. The end.
Well, we don't know that.
We don't know what.
That light could have turned red right when you was under it.
Oh my
There's little
God.
nuances. I'm just saying. There's little nuances.
You already
I
know
didn't
it's
say
gonna be
nuance. I said it was a red
Go ahead,
light.
go ahead. But what anybody else to say it?
I'm just trying to figure out why these people come to school with knives.
Well, here's the thing.
It wasn't
Hey,
a nice
with the case in,
to clean his track suit.
No, it was a knife. It was a knife.
no,
It was a
was
knife.
not.
They
Either way.
showed. Yes, it was. They showed the knife. It was a knife, like a pocket knife that was
It
folded.
was not. It
And-
had
That's
other,
not the one they had on it.
other things on it, Tasha. And it was only,
No.
it was nice or not, it was only 3 inches. Because even if
That's what she said.
probably in your
I'm sorry.
situation,
Oh.
but the process, like the pathologist said, only 2 inches entered him. But it was not an actual knife. Like in the case in Allison, he actually brought a knife to school. This is what people don't realize. Here's the thing. I think he should have gotten the 35 years versus Carmelo Anthony, but that's neither here nor there right now.
Absolutely.
Because if Kaysen Allison had harmed Jose Ramirez the night that he actually pulled the gun on him, I'd have been like
Allegedly.
self-defense. No, the witnesses said that he pulled a gun. Ramirez friends, I believe it was his friends who said that he actually pulled the gun. It's in a police report that Ramirez
So
pulled
why
the
do you go?
gun.
Like, why do you go?
And then the next day they were supposed to settle it in school as fighting in the bathroom. That's why you see other students went in the bathroom.
Premeditated.
See, that's how I feel. Because apparently Ramirez was getting the upper hand on Allison. And Allison pulled out and stabbed him. And now, mind you, he didn't stab him just one time. He actually stabbed him several times.
I think it was like 4 or 6 times.
Yeah. So if anything, I think he should have gotten the 35 years. But once again, see, people, when you say don't look at color, people look at this as Hispanics believe they're white anyway, so I don't really feel bad for them either. But
Oh, God.
There's gonna be a long repent line today.
Yeah.
I really don't feel bad because let me tell you something. I feel like in a situation when you pull a gun on somebody, you can't do something that drastic and not have something drastic happen to you, whether it's the day after or not. I just feel like Allison should have gotten the lengthier sentence versus Carmelo
Yes.
Anthony.
I agree.
Okay,
with
maybe
that.
I'm a
You can't determine
maybe
what he's gonna do to you. Go ahead.
I'm a punk ass bitch, and I probably am. But
Probably.
don't harm my body, don't hurt me. Because if you pull a gun on me the night before, why I'm going in the bathroom and fight you? Number one. Number two is if you fight, we fighting. Why am I coming back? Like I don't understand why we want to fight. Like I'm just confused as to like if y'all know that there could potentially be danger to the fact that you need to go there. Why are we going?
I'm just laughing at
You
my
know,
preface.
I think you know what? I don't know, but we as teenagers do stupid.
Someone has a teenager, they not go back.
Teenagers do stupid stuff. I'm saying we as teenagers do stupid stuff, and that was probably a stupid. him going into the bathroom was stupid, not what he did. That was what he did was wrong. But I'm just saying that we don't think clearly necessarily because you all, especially in boys, you also want to have this macho side to you. I mean, we're not like Apex where when we're born we're already 6 feet. We ain't that. You know.
Well,
no, right?
I remember back in the days when I used to take my sister. Hold on, sorry. I remember back in the days. It was 5 of us growing up, and my sister's the youngest one. And I remember back in the days, this one chick told my sister, "I'm gonna beat your ass after school." Huh? What? I drove my sister right to that girl's house, and my sister fought in front of her house. We do stupid stuff like that. People do stupid stuff like that, and you don't think about what the outcome is going to be. I'm just saying. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Dumb stuff. Go ahead.
I'm just sorry. I don't know anybody that's gonna have a gun pull on them. You know this person
has a gun,
but it's like you're bringing a knife to a gunfight. Does not make sense to me.
and then you're scheduling the fight in the bathroom
As if you wouldn't bring that gun into school.
Can I be honest? I'm one of those people. Not one. I'm not like that anymore. But I'm a vengeful person. And if you do something to me the night before, I'm already plotting what I'm gonna do to you the night after. So that might be the mindset that he was in. You did this to me, now I'm gonna do this to you. Not saying that he meant to kill the person, but I'm just saying that, he's probably was in that mindset that he's gonna get him one way or the other. Because that's one of the things that the friends were saying, that he was telling people, I want to see him in the hospital, something like that.
Then that's premeditated.
It is, but he got the lesser. The jury found him to be manslaughter because they found that he was in fear of his life. I'm just saying. They found
But he also testified.
Now let's go into that. Do you think that it was wrong for Carmelo not to testify?
If you're claiming self-defense,
you have a right to remain silent. That doesn't mean
and you have a right to 35 years.
Wasn't the situation with Carmelo, wasn't the fight actually reported? And wasn't he trying to get out of the fight and he was pulled back into the scuffle?
That's what.
No.
That's that. No,
I'm just asking.
no. Hold on. First off, I'm going to tell you the hearsay, right? From the people that actually watched the video, they're saying that actually the video is not directly where the whole commotion happened. But they're saying that 6 guys was walking towards him. 2 of them split off, I guess, to distract the coach. But 4 of them approached him, and they surrounded him. How he was sitting on the bleachers, not behind him, but on the side of him. And he was actually one of the guys who actually seen the video saying that he was crawling up to get away because and the guy, unfortunately, the Metcalf son that died was not the one that started the altercation. It was actually the twin brother who lived. And if you watch his video, you will see that they were the agitators or the aggressor. Every video that he had up until the trial. And that's what actually several of the witnesses said, that you seen Carmelo was trying to leave after he was like, just don't touch me, or something like that. And somebody grabbed him because you seen this is what they say now. They alleged that they seen the sweater pull back in when he was backing out. And I guess they were starting to fight him or whatever, but he was so quick that he got out of it and he was running off. But this was after he done grabbed his backpack, I guess took out the knife, quote unquote, and stabbed the young man. So that's what made them not chase him, because at that point they already found that Austin had been stabbed. He collapsed. But by then he had already ran off, and I guess he ran into some coach and he was telling the coach that he was defending himself and stuff like that. So
But this is why the lawyers are key in these cases. The way that they give the jury instructions, the charges that they're bringing, the pushback on the objections and stuff like that. If you don't have good representation, you're going to get railroaded no matter what jury's up there, because there's things that the lawyer could do to push back on some of the evidence and some of the statements that were made by the witnesses.
Where are the black leaders at? Where are the black? Where? Because I hear now Cardi's putting $2 million up for an attorney. Where was that at? Cardi B was putting up $2 million for an attorney for him.
He said 5, but
5, whatever. But where was she at? Where was this at when this happened? At the end of the day, it's like where
you can't question. You can't. I'm sorry to say this. You can't question because this was not actually a national news until recently. People in Texas knew about it a year ago.
I knew about it a year ago.
Yeah, but it wasn't
Yeah,
that
me too.
people wasn't following it because about a year ago when it happened, there was something else that was going on that took
They took
precedence.
away
Okay, so in the
his
comments said a good lawyer would have picked
GoFundMe.
the appropriate jury, which is true.
Because I can say
One more time, read it. You kind of went
a
muffled.
good lawyer would have pushed for an appropriate jury.
Well,
And
hold
Todd,
on. The defense, hold on. The defense actually objected to not having any black jurors because they had over 500 people apparently that was going to be selected, right? And the last 3 was 3 black women that were educators. And the prosecutor decided to strike those, but from what they said, and now I'm taking this with a grain of salt because the defense attorney pushed back on it, but the judge objected. So now the thing is, they're saying that the defense attorney was in on it from the whole time because him and the prosecutor worked together before previously. So
They should never even been in.
In the same location.
They should have moved the trial.
I want to know why Chanel said his parents failed him.
you know,
The parents failed them because they didn't put up the money to secure a lawyer that was going to represent their son to the fullest capacity of the law.
Where was my damn money at?
Huh? They had Gibson Go. They had over $1 million in Gibson Go to find lawyer. They used part of that money to relocate their family because they were getting death threats and changing their cars out and stuff like that. So most of the money went to relocating their family.
well, do you
And
know
then
that?
the other money, the guy, they said it. They came out and said it. They had to move.
I heard it. I heard it before, but I didn't know if it was actually a true statement.
Yeah, okay. I thought they stopped the GoFundMe. I thought they cut off their GoFundMe and stuff.
They froze it.
They froze it afterwards
After.
because they
They were
kept
doing
getting
nigga shit like
reports.
Chanel said. Okay. I mean, I know all of this. Thank you, Chanel.
I've done the same thing too. I probably would try to upload my
I
probably
get
get money like
the
son
same
rot in
thing.
jail.
question. What happened?
She said they did nigga shit with the money.
Let me ask you
We all saw it.
because the thing is, everybody is under the assumption because people are saying that it was their tent. First off, it wasn't the students' tent; it was the school's
Doesn't
tent.
matter.
And so I just have this question because people wanted to know how much responsibility falls on the person who remains after being asked to leave.
It doesn't matter.
No, you can't
It's
ask
a
me to
gym.
leave a public space.
It's
The-
not even a
the
public. It
stadium-
doesn't matter.
The
It doesn't
stadium
matter.
is not your space to tell me you got to leave. Get from
That's
under
not
our
even the
desk.
thing. That's not even the thing. See, here's the thing. For those who actually did athletics and stuff and track, and it's like football. They knew each other from football. They knew each other from the track. And what's up? They knew they played the same school. They said they did, and they did. I know what you want to try to correct me, but I know this type of stuff. You talk about you and your sister.
You know
and
from your
stuff.
own
I
history.
know what's. Let me speak. You had your story about your sister. Let me speak about what's going on here. I had a similar situation in a portion of a tent and about stuff like that. It doesn't matter if it's the opposing portion of tent or anything. You have a responsibility as a person, regardless of you being in public space and anything else. If you know this is a track meet, you don't want to get suspended. There's a lot of stuff going on as an athlete. You're over there in the opposing people tent. They're over there for 5 to 10 minutes effing around. You should have left that area to begin with.
You don't even know what he was doing beforehand. Do you know why he was over there under the tent?
Does it matter why he was underneath? I knew, but does it matter why he's underneath the tent? It doesn't matter why he's underneath the tent.
To you, it doesn't matter. To you,
it doesn't matter. Period. This is the reason why. This is the reason why
you
he has
that's your
35
opinion.
years.
You can't turn and say it does
It's
not
not my
matter.
opinion. It's what happened. He got 35 years
That's
because
your
he was
opinion that it
stupid.
does not matter. That's
Okay.
your opinion.
Well, and you know what? And 12 jurors agreed.
Somebody else.
And 12 jurors agreed.
It has nothing to do with the tent. They
It
agreed.
does.
No, it does not. The jurors agree that he killed a guy, not that it had to do anything with the tent.
He tended to he killed the guy. He killed the guy and a responsibility. If he was defending himself, if they agreed that he was defending himself, he would have got off.
I don't think so. I don't think he would have got off with that jury. Honestly, I don't think he would have gotten off.
He would have got off if they could convince him of that. And a lot of factors, such as the tent, is one of those. What's up?
I don't think so. So anyway, so once again, how much responsibility can you put on that person after they remain?
I think
Now,
that's
here's
what
the thing.
Apex is saying. He's saying it was a school event, and you have different rules when you go to these schools traveling with these teams and things like that. They already lay out what you're supposed to be doing, what you're allowed, and what you're not allowed.
But if a person told them,
hold on a second. Yeah, you posed the question. I'm just saying what I'm saying is they already have rules and guidelines. He's a senior in high school. This is not his first year. So they have, he knows the culture of these tents and all this kind of stuff. So if another team says, hey, you gotta leave, he does. So what he's saying is you have a responsibility to just leave.
Pause. I get what y'all are saying, right? But if somebody granted me access to sit under a tent, a coach grants me access to sit under that tent because it started to rain, no student has the right to tell you to get up and leave. A coach has the right to tell you get up and leave, but not a student. A student.
Yes, this is the premise of the culture. That's what I was getting at. That you wanted to come. I know you want to talk over me.
Premise at all. You didn't say anything about. You did not get to that premise at all.
I couldn't get there because you talk over me. What I'm saying
Oh
to you
my
is
gosh.
this.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Y'all think about her.
No, I'm just saying a coach has the right to tell somebody to leave. The coach did not do that. It was the boys that would approach him to tell him to leave. So I get what y'all are saying. So
your question was how much is it on that person once they're told to leave, right?
Correct. But I'm saying it was the young men that told him to leave. I don't have to leave because you told me to. If a coach told me to, I would get up and leave.
Okay, I got what you're saying. You're saying if someone of authority, the school coaches or
Coach,
an adult,
principal, another adult from the school tell me to leave the tent, I would have left. But no student has the right to tell you to pack a big coat.
Especially after you got an authority from. I get what you're saying.
So the coach gave him the green light to stay under there.
Yes, because apparently it started to rain, and I live not too far out from where the school is. But that particular day, the track meet, that's why they were on hold, because it started to rain heavily in the area, right? So apparently, when he went, his team or his school did not have a tent. I guess they were not expecting a large turnout, but they did not have a tent. And he was, wherever they were sitting, wherever he was, he went over towards that. It started to rain, and he asked the coach if he could sit under. In the meantime, yes, he went to sit under. One of the dudes, now everybody's talking about this young man is getting death threats, but one of the dudes under that tent he knew. He didn't know anybody else. He only knew that one dude. So that's what I'm saying. If a coach tells me to leave, I'm going to leave. But if other students tell me to leave, I dare you to try me. That would have been my mindset back then. Now I'm not as confrontational anymore. I'm just not.
Well, I didn't ever hear throughout the whole case that a coach told him, no coach that they pulled on that's another error for the defense. No coach that they pulled on the stand said, hey, we told them to find shelter and go under the tent or whatever because it was a storm. They never brought that out for his defense.
But my thing is this, even if, say for instance, he did listen and he did leave, would they have let him leave?
Well, here's the thing. And I'm going to pose this question before any other question. Because if you look at the brother, his name is Hunter. If you look at all of his interviews from before,
yeah,
people are giving these students and these coaches more weight today after a whole year and a half of sitting back and assessing or getting prepped for this thing versus when it actually happened. When it actually happened, the brother said that Austin grabbed his backpack and threw it down. So Carmelo actually grabbed his backpack, and I don't know if he was leaving or not, but he grabbed his backpack And when he grabbed his backpack, Austin grabbed his backpack and threw it down. So if you're grabbing your backpack, that to me tells me either you're getting your weapon, or two, you're trying to retreat. So if somebody's trying to leave or do something, why would you grab something of theirs to throw it?
They were bullying him. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. So it's kind of like, go ahead.
clear. It's clear they were bullying him or were doing whatever. I mean, that was clear. That's evident. So it was self-defense. They said no. Moving on. So I'm over it.
So
Wait a minute, not over it. I think we got a lot of work to do. We gotta rally for the appeal.
Well, they already paying for the attorney, but we'll see how it goes. But it's at this point, there's not a lot of hope here. There's not
Is
a
he
lot of
gonna
hope.
make it
It's
to the
evident.
appeal?
It's all right there in black and white. It's
That's
all
another
evident. It's
thing.
just not there.
That within itself is another thing, because I really and truly don't
feel that, and it's sad to say this, but I really do believe, based on some of the the one podcast interview I saw the father did and stuff like that, I feel like they're gonna try to do something like that.
Well, they actually moved him from the prison system that he was supposed to go to, because apparently the warden's last name is Metcalf, like the family. So the implication is that the warden is related to the Metcalf. It's not verified, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was. So yeah, they already moved him, and let's just pray that he gets through the appeal process.
My thought process is kind of like what Chanel said earlier. I just have to teach my son how to navigate this world the way that it is now.
Well, the world has
Because
also been like this. But let me revisit what Chanel was saying. Do y'all feel in some way that his parents was somewhat at fault for his loss?
So
No.
I'll say yes. I think the parents were a major part of it. From the first press conference that they did with the Black Action Network or whatever, that guy that leads that group, the one that was shown in the pictures when he was bonded out, he actually is 37 years old. And they were taking counsel. When you're in these situations, even if you needed the money to raise the money or whatever, you didn't really vet or do anything to make sure that your son was going to get the fair case that he needed to get. I think at the time that it happened, there was national attention on it. I mean, I remember tracking this until the trial started. So I think that there's a lot of Black lawyers that have brilliant minds that they could have gotten to represent him. Or I don't know. I just don't know why they were choosing.
I said at this point he needed Chow's lawyer.
Oh Lord.
He
They
needed
did though. He did.
Yeah. I
At least
mean,
Chow's
Chow
lawyer
said
know
he
how
would
to
have got
win.
off.
He know
Yeah.
how to win.
and so what I heard from the guy from the Black Action Network, what he said was he presented them with different lawyers and he got them connected in with them. But what ended up happening is their fees were too high. Because they had to use a portion of the money to fund moving the family because of death threats. The husband was the Metcalf dad was going to the husband's job, threatening him at his workplace. They were going outside their house, and they have younger kids, so they used a portion of the money to move them. So when they had looked at what was left, they didn't have enough to afford the Black lawyers, and none of the Black lawyers would lower their fee. So
All you had to
he's
do,
saying,
you needed to come out. You needed to come out and say something.
So what about the rest of you? Do you find that the family was somewhat at fault?
Well, shit, how much do it cost to move? I mean, damn, how much was it?
That part, I'm trying to figure out, like, where did they move to?
I don't know where they moved to, but apparently their
So
lifestyle
once
prior
again,
was a gated community. So they probably went to another gated community somewhere. Um,
but if they're already, anyways, I'm not gonna
What?
question. But go ahead. How do y'all? So parents, do you think the parents was? In my opinion, I do find the parents them are responsible because I feel like if you see that there's not effective counsel for your 19-year-old and they're going based off of your guidance, then you hold some type of responsibility for his conviction. Because when you see somebody's not doing right by you, then you have to say, okay, I want new counsel. I would never forget,
but
I was going through my own trial at one point. The guy that shot me, actually, we had a delay in trial because he went through 3 or 4 different counsels. He kept on hiring them and firing them, hiring them and firing. And unfortunately, he still got the 35 years in prison. But if somebody's not working in your favor, especially as these parents, they care so much about their son, yeah, I would have fired that counsel. I mean, it's not
but at what
judge would
point,
have
I
let him
don't
off.
I don't know at what point they felt like, okay, this is not working.
Look at the interview with the dad. The dad recently came out with an interview after the trial. He was like, he was hoping that things would get better. So he knew this beforehand.
Wow.
He
Yeah,
could have called Rainbow Push. He could have called Jesse before Jesse was gone. He could have did any of that. Like
at
any of
this
it.
point, yeah, I was gonna say something else, but I'll have to repent tonight anyways.
You're already repenting. Go
At
ahead and
this point,
say
like
it.
where I mean, it's just not making any sense.
What do you mean you thought it was going to get better? Like you were banking on the self-defense and that was it?
He was banking that the lawyer was going to represent his son better than what he did, because he was saying that he's seen little signs prior to, but he was just hoping and praying that, I don't know if he used the word praying, but he was just hoping that even though
That budget would stretch.
yeah, well, not even the money was stretched, that the lawyer just represent him better than what it was. Because
But
I
what's
think
gonna
in that sense, he probably felt like the lawyer was not fighting for his son. And I'm gonna say this.
I mean,
And
why would I? If you give, I'm gonna get paid anyway. You can pay me pennies. I'm gonna get paid anyway, whether or not I win or lose. So you get what you pay for.
And that's exactly probably how people feel now. But I'm going to say this. I am tired of us as people praying that God is gonna help us. God is going to help you as far as he can, but you also have to learn how to help yourself. In a situation like this, God is going to show you exactly who he is. Yes, but we also have to take responsibility at some point and be like, look, God, I know you're with me and this man is not. Let me get rid of this man and give me a lawyer. Show me who a lawyer is going to. I guess I'm just different. I'm a religious person, but I think to me, I feel like I'm tired of hearing people pray about stuff that's going to happen and not really
Well,
take.
prayer works. The
I know
problem
prayer
is
works.
God gives us
But you also have to do your part.
God gives us discernment, and you have to lean on your
They had the
discernment.
discernment, and guess what? He didn't use it. Go ahead. I'm sorry. He had discernment because he was saying after all of this, he was like, he's seen little signs. So that
Is
was
that
your
discernment or just
the thing is,
could have been guilt too.
the way that the lawyer did the case, from what I'm hearing, is if he did not object, it's going to be really hard to prove that he was ineffective counsel.
Oh, he's not. It's not. That's not what the appeal's about. There's appeal and everything else. No, the counsel is ineffective, but you got what you asked for.
Yeah, he's not appealing based off of ineffective.
So, what do you think? What do you think the appeal is based on then?
Because he didn't
Luck
have. Well, it will be off of that, but
Luck
what
and hope.
they appeal,
Okay.
from what I understand, that they're going to appeal, or they have submitted the appeal because one, he didn't have a jury of his peers.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't straight that, because when the judge comes back, they did submit a form to say, Judge, they're striking these 3 black people and we think that's unfair. The judge looked at it and he said, no, they're off the case. So you can't appeal because of that, because they challenged it in the moment.
You can't, in the law, you have the right to have a jury of your peers, and none of them was of his peers.
They should have moved that
If
trial.
they might not speak the same lingo that, because
But
one.
let's define peers.
Right.
Let's define jury. Let's define what peers is when it comes down to
because
jury
it's
and
not
peers.
a
A person that
peer
looks like
doesn't
me
mean
and you.
Is that what it's
it might
defined as? Is
it might be
the
some-
law?
no.
A peer might be someone that understands the same lingo as you.
No,
Well, I'm saying
peer
as
is
defined-
a cross section.
As defined in the law, what is a jury
Exactly.
of peers? That's the difference. Is it somebody of the same socioeconomic status as you? Same area, same whatever. Doesn't
Yes.
necessarily isn't necessarily about race.
And
And if
No.
it does not specifically state that, then he can't appeal off of it just because of race.
Exactly. You're correct. Erica.
Basically, it says it's supposed to have a fair cross section. The jury pool must not intentionally exclude groups based on race, gender, national origin, or religion.
There's a lawyer out there right now that says that it's likely that he will get an appeal because the prosecutor did a preemptory
Trial motion.
to get those 3 last jurors off. So we'll see what happens, really.
But no, but it's not based off of race, because what they submitted to the judge, I don't know, somebody said it was teachers. They could have said, hey, all these are educators. And based on the educator and how they were answering, we think they're unfit. They could do that. They grouped them by something else other
I'm gonna send y'all a video because there is a guy. I think I sent it to the group thing, but anyways, there was a guy that was in there at the time that they were questioning, and you remember we had that conversation yesterday, Tasha B, about type of questions that you can ask, and apparently he sent this. I forgot the man's name because I don't follow him on TikTok, but he sent out the type of question that was actually being asked to the jurors. So we'll have to follow it. Well, we didn't even touch on the Carmelo Anthony thing. I'll probably follow up on TikTok with that and get other people's opinion. I had a closing statement. I don't even want to close out my own statement. So would anybody else like to pick this up? What advice would you give moving forward?
I think that what Chanel wrote, I think is a good way to end it. Well, what she sent about the Howard professor. It says, "Dear Jeff Metcalf, your son is dead because you failed to teach him that black boys have boundaries." To Substack.
I think everybody has boundaries. Like you can't come up, you can't approach me. I'm going to tell you something. I'm not a violent person, but after being shot, if I got a group of guys coming up towards me, one of y'all gonna get killed. I carry a pistol on me everywhere I go, and that's the thing.
But the letter that she's reading is addressed to the dad.
I know.
Metcalf.
I understand that, but that's where people fail to realize he defended himself because it was 4 guys. Now, if it was 1-on-1 and he did what he did, I'd have been like, give him the chair or something. But you can't tell me I can't fear for my life when 4 people is approaching me. You don't know what they're gonna do.
No, but she's saying
I know what
that
she's saying as far as the thing. I'm just going back to the trial.
No, Metcalf, if he would have taught his son, Hunter, or whatever his name was,
Austin.
boundaries, and that you don't run this tent, he probably still would have been alive.
We're going over on time, but they've said that they have been bullies for a while because apparently there was a cheerleader that wrote the coach in reference to Hunter's and Austin's actions prior to. So they have a history of being bullies. And the problem is a lot of these schools are not taking into account when somebody's being bullied, whether it's verbally or physically. They're not taking that into account because the laws have tied their hands in what they can do. So if you're not getting it at home, and I'm not saying Carmelo Anthony is free. Okay, so in the islands, we have this thing that says, who don't hear or feel? Meaning if you're not listening now, you're gonna feel it later on. And so he was already suspended from school from bringing a knife. So he should have never been to the track meet. He probably would have saved himself if he never went. But if you didn't feel it when you got suspended, then you're going to feel it now. And I think now he's feeling his actions, and he's going to learn from this. Whether he gets released or not on appeal, or whether he get acquitted, he's feeling it now, and it's just going to make him grow as a person. And I'm hoping the same thing happens to Hunter, because you being a bully and you calling your brother over, and you actually assisted in your brother's death by calling him over to help save you once again. I'm hoping that you look at your action and be like, I need to be a better person.
I don't think so. The father doesn't. The father has some very
Choice words on the internet.
Choice words and a lot of opinions on Black people. Let me put it that way.
Well, he's gonna have a lot of them every year.
Every
cutting you off, Pheromone. I'm sorry. It's just I think for us, we just have to. I really don't know where we go from here, because history has shown us time and time again that we're always going to be. They're going to consider us they're never going to consider us the victim. We're always going to be the perpetrator, but never the victim. And I just think that's what it's going to show us. Yeah. I'm sorry, Tasha dropped off. But yeah, so everything, I think we can follow up on this. I'll probably follow up on TikTok so that way we can talk about it. So I'll just go ahead and close out the show. Once again, I thank everybody for joining us. Our conversation is never to tell you how to think. It just challenges you to think. You can join us on social media, on all platforms. It will be posted at the end of the video. So please join us in more discussion. Let's see. I don't even know what our discussion is going to be on next. Probably more of this.
This will give me a headache.
Really?
Is your weave on too tight?
We have. You mean your Chinese hair giving you a headache?
Read between the lines, Apex.
What's the Apex thing? Man. Apex taking